And welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I've got a special co-host today, Mr. Bob Furr of Madison Trolley Company. Bob, thanks for jumping in and hanging out with us today.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here. Hello, Chastity. Marc.
I heard your GPS wasn't working, so you just had to find the tower. And
it's very good that you're at the bottom of a big radio tower. I would still be out wandering around the cotton field somewhere. So
we call that our homing beacon.
I used my powers of deduction.
Yeah. It's definitely a homing beacon. Gets people lined up, show them where we are. Got a great show in store for everybody today. Vernon Jones is going to be our guest in just a little bit. He is running for Secretary of State. Dutch Guest, who's running for Georgia House 121. And Amory Warren, she is a commissioner of the Walton County Board of Commissioners. So it's going to be a stacked show. Chastity, how are you doing over there?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank
you. All right.
How about you?
A little bit nicer today. Not so drizzly.
Yes.
Less cold.
Yes.
Hey, what's the weather report for tomorrow night's remote where we're going to be covering the big Christmas parade in downtown Monroe?
Yeah, it's looking like we're possibly going to deal with some rain showers. No! I know. So rain and cold. So
Chastity, I left you in charge of weather. You were supposed to have nice temperature and no rain. All right.
We're going to work on that.
We'll make it happen. Then that means I'm going to have to bring probably like a little 10 by 10 tent set up. We're going to have a remote. I think we're going from 5 until about 7 p.m. Mm-hmm. Now, Les will be in here doing his normal show, and then he'll be going back to us every, say, 15 minutes for an update, because we got to keep people up to date as to what's going on in the parade, Bob. It's a big deal. 77 floats coming down this parade.
As a veteran of Northern parades, here's a pro tip. Hand warmers in the shoes. That'll be a good asset.
And hot chocolate.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, hey, where is the hot chocolate?
I know. It's in there in the kitchen.
All right. Between next break, I want my hot chocolate.
Absolutely.
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. If you get a chance, come by, say hi. We'd love to meet you in person. We're going to be located in front of the Welcome Center, which is adjacent to the museum, which we had Steve Brown, our historian at the Monroe Museum, on yesterday. That was a great interview. Learned a lot about Monroe. But you know what's interesting, Chastity? Just like he said, visiting the museum, we only scratched the surface in our interview with him. So at some point, we have to have him back. And I was thinking about this. We'll have Steve back, and we'll have actual topics to discuss, right? Historical events, like maybe the Boll Weevil event or different things that we can pin him down on and spend 20 or 30 minutes talking about.
Yes, we needed more time with him.
Yeah.
It was so fun to have him.
We had Stoneman's Cavalry went through Monroe, I'm quite sure, on their retreat during the Battle of Atlanta.
See, what would be fun is having Bob and Steve here at the same time.
There we go.
Then you guys could have a battle of historical wits.
Yep. I like that.
That'd be a blast.
Let's do it.
Bob, give us an update. What's going on with the Madison Trolley Company? This is coming into your peak season right now, right, for the tour of homes?
Yeah, so it's really great. We've had, so probably my favorite thing so far is we launched the Mary Matty Express last Saturday.
The Mary Matty Express?
Yeah,
what's the...
think Polar Express.
Okay,
except on a trolley. And so we've got... put kids on it, and we've got a live Elf on the Shelf, which is pretty interesting. Bit mischievous. My 9-year-old nephew causes trouble for people. We've got a young woman who leads the kids in carols and sing-alongs. We have trivia. We have golden tickets with scratch-off prizes.
That's
and
fun.
We basically drive around for about 30 minutes looking at fun Christmas lights, and then we arrive at Christmas on Dixie, which is just a great tradition in Morgan County. I don't know how many blow-ups they have out in their space, but they've been doing it for 13 years. Just a great story behind it, really inspiring. Started out to bring some cheer to a couple of daughters in the family, and then later on another young girl, only 6 years old, passed away right around the holidays. And the dad chose, like, he just didn't want to be in a funeral home. He didn't want to feel that way, so he wanted to be where she would want to be, and so they had her memorial celebration among all these blow-ups.
Oh, wow.
Christmas
okay,
lights.
Yeah.
And so it's obviously taken on a special meaning to the family.
Yeah, there's some meaning behind this.
So we arrive there, and we have fun there, and Santa's there, the Grinch is there, and it's just a blast.
Are you guys running the Christmas trolley for the whole month of December? Is it weekends, or what nights is it taking place?
Yeah, so the Mary Matty Express we do on Saturdays when they have the characters at Christmas on Dixie, and then on Thursday, there's one Thursday night, the 18th, when they have live music, and then we'll do it the Monday and Tuesday of Christmas week, but then on the other nights, Sundays and Thursdays, and then later on Friday and Saturdays, we do our Madison Christmas lights. I spent about 4 hours last night in the car with a clipboard and a GPS driving every single street in Madison, scoping out the Christmas lights and planning a route and such like that.
You know what would have been cool is, Bob, you should have gotten a float. Next year, you guys got to have a float in the Monroe Christmas parade, let other people know.
Yeah.
So I've actually been having some conversations with Monroe because Monroe and Madison are very similar, and there's a lot going on right now. One trolley at a time, I guess, is I
Hey,
would say.
we're tight with the mayor of Monroe.
Yeah.
We can have the mayor in here in a matter of 10 minutes, Bob, if you want him.
I've been speaking to a lovely woman up there named Sandy Daniels, who's their events coordinator,
Yeah.
and we've been
Sandy's
trying to
awesome.
kind of make things
Sandy is awesome.
make things work. I really was interested in being in the parade, but with me providing transportation for the tour homes this weekend, it's just a lot
Yeah.
to do.
Well, even though the mayor of Monroe is a Florida Gator, we still love him.
That's a little tough to
Yeah.
get by.
Yeah, it is. We have to palate that part. So some bizarre things going on in the real world. Some of this is taking place right on our back doorstep here. So I had a couple little crazy stories that I've dug up. Let's talk about this one first. You got a guy who is an escaped inmate. He escaped, I guess, from Grady Memorial Hospital. So he was in there getting treatment, and he steals a car, wrecks the car, and escapes again. But they find out that in that last theft of that car, there was a gun in the car. So now they're like, hey, this guy's armed. They issued an alert. It was all over the news. They tracked him to, I think, a home in Henry County. So it turns out they found him in Newton County. So I guess the emergency, the fear is over. That's right in our backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. So I don't know what his initial thing that he got arrested for, but Rockdale County was all over this. Applauds to the Rockdale County Sheriff's Department, Newton County Sheriff's Department. And they actually put out a $5,000 reward to find this dude. So I'm curious to see if that reward gets executed or not. But thank God they got him.
And it hits kind of close to home because we see these stories all the time of these pursuits on I-20 that end with people jumping out of the cars and running into the woods. And the next thing you know, you have the Morgan County Sheriff and area police departments doing a manhunt right around us.
Well, and there's so moving parts to this because, like I said, initially Rockdale County, then he goes to Grady for treatment, escapes there. Then they said, hey, we tracked him down in Henry County. So I'm thinking, okay, we're safe. Because I was reading this last night, and I'm like, Henry County, he's going the wrong way, right? He's going south. He's going to Florida for the winter. Well, then they find him in Newton County, so he's coming back up this way. So good thing that the good old folks of Morgan County didn't have to get involved in this.
Well, good job for our law enforcement, though.
Damn, blessed.
They do an amazing job. I mean,
they do.
It's easy to hide, right? And the way they're able to mobilize their resources and bring something like
Just
that
so
to
fast.
an end.
You can run, but you can't hide.
That's right.
And there's a little 7-year-old boy from Newton County ran away. Good news, they found him. I was thinking about this. I don't know, a 7-year-old running away. I mean, what, the hot chocolate wasn't, hot enough?
Yeah. Maybe he was going to Granny's.
Yeah, maybe he was going to Granny's. So they said he reported missing at 1 p.m. yesterday when the Guardian couldn't reach him. They discovered he was gone. And then ultimately, good news, they found him. He's now reunited with the family. But I was thinking about that. It's like 7 years old. The grass isn't greener on the other side, little dude, right?
And they have no idea what there is to fear out there. We're in a changed world, and even though you're probably thinking, hey, the hot chocolate wasn't hot enough, if you're those authorities we were just talking about, you have to treat it as if it's an abduction, or you have to plan and assume it's the worst case scenario.
Resources get used, and it's funny. I think did you ever have a runaway moment when you're young, Chastity? Like I'm having enough, Mom and Dad, I'm out of here.
No, but I just remember just hearing the stories of the kids being like 7, and Mom says no about something. They're like, well, I'm just leaving and going, I'm moving in with Grandma. So that's what it reminds me of.
Oh, man.
No.
Well, who knows how rough can it be at 7 years old? No debt, no bills to pay, no auto loan payment. But hey, what the hot chocolate isn't. Speaking of hot chocolate, Chastity, next break you got to get in there and get me a couple hot. And I want to can I do a double dose?
Yes.
So I want 2 packets of hot chocolate so it's like extra chocolate.
Oh, super sweet.
Yeah, make a pig of myself. Now this one is bizarre, Bob. You ready for this? The OK Corral. We had a shootout at a restaurant in Conyers yesterday.
Yep.
Did you hear about this?
I saw it briefly on the news.
Yeah.
But don't know the whole story.
So Mexican restaurant off of I-20 in Conyers. I guess a guy comes in, and this is just beyond frightening to think about. Beyond frightening. I don't know if this was a random incident, if it was a personal deal, if it was a theft deal. None of the details. This is all speculation at this point. But guy comes in and starts opening fire on some customers, shooting towards people, including children. And thank God there was 2 armed customers in the restaurant that returned fire, and that chased the dude off. And then he was ultimately arrested. But again, when you start hearing about these things taking place, these are no longer in the city of Atlanta. right? These are no longer the downtown areas that maybe we know are dangerous areas. This is in our backyard, right?
Yep.
They caught a guy that escaped law enforcement in Newton County, and they had a shootout in Rockdale County. People are losing their minds.
I think we're starting not to be able to take safety for granted. You know, I remember me growing up, it was the Cold War, right? You know, hiding under desks, but that was such a huge concept. But here, you know, just having lunch in a diner, you're at risk. And I was thinking about this when you were telling me about this before we got talking. I just got done watching that Ken Burns series on the American Revolution, and just realizing, you know, how much we take for granted safety. Whereas back, you know, our forefathers and mothers, you know, going to get the milk was a life-threatening experience. And now going to the diner, going to the Mexican restaurant, you just never know what's going to happen. And I find myself in these situations now being alert to my surroundings. What's my plan of exit? You know, that's right. You know, contingency planning.
It's like the old mafia movies where the guy goes into a restaurant and he sits down in a corner so that he can face everything, right? So his back is against the wall and no one can sneak up behind him. And it stinks that we live in that environment, but you're right. You have to take those precautions. It's frightening. And I hate this for the proprietors of this restaurant, because that is going to obviously be something they have to recover from. Thank God nobody was injured or killed. Could have been worse. But this is like the Wild West out there. And the only solution is just absolutely find these people, prosecute them to the full extent of the law, and put them away, and make this a difficult place for crime to take place. You have to give a reason to people to not want to commit crime. And if they don't fear retribution, then it's just going to continue to get worse. And like you said earlier, thank God for the law enforcement that we do have in this area.
Yeah, and it's getting harder and harder to do that job.
Yeah, absolutely. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Bob Furr, actually co-host Bob Furr, Chastity on the boards. When we come back, we got some more local stories that we'll be discussing.
This is Cheryl Malcolm on the road to salvation. Who is Jesus? When Jesus entered Jerusalem riding on a donkey, there were shouts of praise from the people. However, there were others who asked, "Who is this?" The crowds answered, "This is Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth of Galilee." Jesus came in humility to give his life in obedience of his Father's will. The strength of his identity and mission carried him through the darkest hours as he died on the cross for our sins so that we might live in his love. Jesus is worthy of our lives and devotion, a Savior to those who believe. Do you recognize who he is? Dear God, thank you for Jesus, who gave his life for us. Amen.
Here's Evan Youngblood for Youngblood Tractor in Madison.
Did you know Youngblood Tractor is much more than just tractors? Sure, we have the biggest selection of Massey Ferguson tractors around and all the attachments you could ever need. But did you know we also carry the Kawasaki side-by-side lineup, like the legendary Kawasaki Mule, Terex, and Ridge? That's Kawasaki's new cab model with heat and AC. Youngblood Tractor also carries the complete Spartan zero-turn mower lineup, from residential to commercial zero-turn mowers. Combine that with our massive trailer inventory of equipment, dump, enclosed, and utility trailers, you can always build a winning combination at Youngblood Tractor right here in Madison. We also feature a full parts and service department to help maintain your equipment for years to come. Whether you're a full-time farmer, hunter, or property owner looking to maintain your land, Youngblood Tractor is here to make your next outdoor project a success. Call us today at 706-342-2242 or stop by and see us at 1600 Athens Highway in Madison, or shop us 24 hours a day at youngbloodtractor.com.
There's something about a clock. It keeps working even when you don't think about it. All day, all night. Behind the clock is a machine you'll never see. Always reliable, always accurate. It wasn't a mistake when we named our heating and air company Clockwork. Yeah, some folks call us and ask if we can fix their watches. We can't. But we can fix your furnace and air conditioning brilliantly, so it runs like a clock. Runs when you're not even thinking about it. But there's something else about the clock in Clockwork Heating and Air Conditioning. We have mad respect for time. We make ourselves available on your time. We never waste your time. And we're at your house in a timely manner. This is what it means to work like clockwork. Clockwork Heating and Air Conditioning. Clockwork-air.com.
Welcome back. Marc McMain, my co-host today, is Mr. Bob Furr of Madison Trolley Company. Bob, I've got a story that I want to talk about that really demonstrates the incredible importance of your state legislature and the laws that are created for your state, especially as it pertains to somebody who doesn't pay rent. And the story is, it's about a young lady. Her name is Pai Chung. I think I'm getting that right. I guess she's a social media influencer. She does like luxury food, social media events. She'll go to a restaurant. She'll say, hey, I'm here at so-and-such restaurant, and I'm eating the caviar, and I'm eating the filet mignon, and et cetera, et cetera. And she'll post it on social media. And then she would use that as a guise to say, hey, I don't pay for my bill. So it's like it's almost like paid advertisement, right? Well, then what it curved into was, I guess, allegedly she was dining and dashing. You know what that is, Chastity?
Yeah.
It's like,
that's terrible.
Yeah, so it's where you go in, you ring up a bill,
Yep.
and then you say, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. And you sneak out the back and you're gone.
Yep.
So I guess she was doing that. So that in itself is bad enough, right? You're ringing up these bills. You're not paying for the bills if it's true what she's done. But then it turns out that she was now been evicted from her luxury Williamsburg apartment. Ironically, this is owned by the former governor of New York, Eliot Spitzer. And so what I took from this story is her rent was, I think, around $3,300 a month. But by the time they actually evicted her, she had racked up over $50,000 in back due rent. And the reason for that is because of the laws in New York when you are a landlord and how they protect a tenant who's not paying the rent. And so, Bob, I know this firsthand because a very dear friend of mine, I'll have him on the show one day, he lived in Manhattan. He now lives in New Jersey. His name is Rob. Rob inherited an apartment from his father when his father passed away. And when I say inherited, that's probably not the right word. He inherited the responsibility of managing it. So I think the mom was still alive, so she received the proceeds. But Rob managed the apartment. Well, after the father died, the tenants quit paying their bill. And Rob discovered that the tenants actually left and were subletting it to somebody else, right? Well, it took Rob almost 2 years to evict those tenants that were not paying their bill. And the attorney that Rob hired told him it would be better for you, this was in the early phases, it will be cheaper to go to them and offer them a cash deal to leave as opposed to battling this.
I mean, what can possibly be right about that?
I mean, that's it. What could possibly be right about this, Bob? And so the Georgia legislature, this was all taking place during COVID, right? So the Georgia legislature led under, obviously the leadership of Governor Kemp as governor, and the Republicans in the state legislature identified that this was an issue. It was taking place here in Georgia too. It was becoming it's kind of like getting a tick out, right? Somebody gets in, they rent, and here you are. My buddy Rob's not a wealthy dude. It's not like he's got 50 apartments, and this is 1 out of 50 that's not paying his bill. This was a generous source of his mother's income.
Yep.
All of a sudden, they decide they're not going to pay their bill, and they can't get him out.
And it's not like the bank is saying, well, you don't have to pay the mortgage on the apartment complex anymore while you're trying to work.
Mortgage has to be paid. Yep. So this is still going on in New York, and it is a classic example. And this is not really what the story was about. The story was more about this social media influencer and her antics and how it's gotten her into trouble. But I really latched on to this $50,000 in back due rent, and she finally is evicted. And the reason this happens, Bob, in my opinion, is because you get people into elected office who have never walked in our shoes. You get career politicians or social or community organizers or people that have great college degrees but have no real life practical experience. And they have no clue what it took for Rob's father, who was an immigrant from Italy, to save up the money, invest over decades, and buy himself and have no real life practical experience. And they have no clue what it took for Rob's father, who was an immigrant from Italy, to save up the money, invest over decades, and buy himself an apartment that he could then rent out and generate some income.
I think it's even down to, so things like what we're seeing happen with this right now, and like, let's throw squatters into the mix, right? Like you have people who, like, at least in this situation, they signed an agreement, you let them into the, now you have people moving into homes and just setting up shop, and it's hard to get them out of there, and it's an overcorrection, right? So we had a period in our history where, the landlords were kind of the villains, and they were taking advantage, especially of new immigrants in New York City being a classic example. And so good intentions, the road to where is, and so these rules and regulations were put into place, and now you have a situation where they've either become dated or overly cumbersome. And I think it's what you said, but also I think change, like the human brain is wired not to change, right? Like we are biologically wired to not want to change. And I think that people get into office and they're just afraid to touch, I always use the phrase the third rail of politics. Apply it to whatever you want, and they kind of see everything as the third rail.
Well, and that's why I applaud the Georgia legislature for moving so briskly to identify the problem that was taking place here in Georgia. Because, again, people were doing this here in Georgia. They were racking up 3, 6, 12 months of unpaid rent, and the landlords were like, hey, what am I doing? This is crushing me, right? And oftentimes landlords are not these big conglomerates who own dozens or hundreds of properties. It is the retired guy who saved up enough for 3 or 4 properties, and all of a sudden, if 1 or 2 of your tenants are not paying their bill, that could be 25 or 50% of your income that you rely on to survive is no longer coming in. And so the legislature moved, I don't remember the bill, but they moved to an act so it can briskly be dealt with here. But what's stunning is in New York that they're still siding with those who want to abuse the system. And it's no shock that this comes from states like New York, who are laden with leftist policies within their legislature, and they just don't get it. But again, I mean it when I tell you, this is what you get when you have people elected to office that have never walked in our shoes. They've never formed a business. They've never probably worked a real job. They've never had to invest. Sometimes what happens when people look at a successful business, Bob, is they look at that business and they say, oh, man, Bob's loaded, man. Bob's got plenty of money. Bob can absorb this hit. They don't know what it took for you to get to this state, right? I can't tell you how many small business owners that I know that risked everything and they started a business in the basement of their house or in their garage, with the risk of not paying a mortgage, having children that they still have to feed. And they lived on a shoestring budget for sometimes years to have the success that they then achieve. So, in my opinion, we can't demonize people like that. Those are the leaders of our industry. We got to be sure that they're protected. But, at least they were able to get this nut job out and evicted after a $50,000 bill. And there's no way they're going to recover that $50,000.
No. And I mean, you being from New York, stunning is not necessarily a word I would use to describe the state of affairs.
Yeah, you've kind of seen it up close and personal.
I mean, my folks upstate, it's really such a divided state. The people from where I came from have a very different view of things like this.
That's what people forget about. Yeah.
Basically New York State spends its life trying to outvote New York City.
Yeah. Think of that. Marc McMain, my co-host today, is Bob Furr of Madison Trolley Company. Bob, one more story that I have queued up before we get into our interview. So President Trump now is coming out and saying, hey, maybe not in the not in the too distant future, we could possibly eliminate federal income tax. And the basis of this is the revenue that's coming in off of the tariff program that he initiated this past year. And I found this interesting. And I think, once again, from my perspective as a business owner, anytime I can hear a reduction in taxes, I'm thrilled, right? It gives me goosebumps because I do have a hefty tax burden that we pay in a myriad of capacities, whether it's federal tax, state income tax, property tax, which is just going through the roof. So when I hear that there's an opportunity to eliminate a tax, I get excited. I know this is a lofty goal from what the president's suggesting, but I understand where he's coming from and again, we don't know the numbers yet that's coming in off this tariff program, but if it could even reduce the federal income tax, this would be a boon for not just business owners, but for everybody.
Well, I'm definitely for having my income tax reduced. I'll just go ahead and say that. But Yeah, I mean, we've had it since Civil War, right? I mean, that was where income tax started. The first federal income tax was to help pay, for the war, and then it became, I think, official in the early 1900s, And I'll tell you my feeling about it is I think it's complicated, right? And I wouldn't feel, I'm not an economist, but I don't have to be an economist to understand waste, And I just, to me, I'm more than our taxes are really, relative to a lot of countries in the world, pretty low, and
Right.
we have a pretty good standard of living. We have a pretty good life, so I'm happy to pay my taxes for the privilege of living here. But please don't waste my money.
That's right.
Please don't waste my money.
And that's what I think the federal government has been so good at, is wasting money. And I tell you what I would also like to see addressed. Yes, and folks, let's not fool ourselves. If they were to reduce the federal income tax by way of tariffs, that is still somewhat of a shell game, because you're going to be paying that tariff in some form or capacity. But yes, I love the idea. I'll tell you what else I love the idea is eliminating or reducing the red tape when it comes to tax policy in tax issues. Because I think, once again, and you'd concur with me on this, Bob, that as a business owner, it is very complex dealing with your tax. I mean, you have to hire an army of people to manage this stuff.
I should be able to do my own taxes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, plain and simple. I mean, no, I love my accountant. He's a great guy. I shouldn't need him.
Right.
It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, when you look at the amount of money that's spent on just organizational side, right, tracking what you're doing, and then hiring an accountant to be sure, or a tax advisor to be sure that you're not leaving, something on the table. That's always my biggest frustration, is found out, oh man, I could have done this. And I've told my accountant in the past, like, hey, if I ever get audited, I want to find out that the government owes me money, right? I want the error on the side of caution. But it is very disappointing when you go through all these efforts to be sure that your taxes are handled in a timely and professional manner. You pay your fair share, and then you find out that the government has blown it on some ridiculous program that you don't agree with. I agree. That is always very frustrating. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, Vernon Jones, he is running for Secretary of State.
I've got to tell you about the best kept secret in Monroe for electric wholesale supply, Allen's Electric. Family owned and operated since 1972, Allen's Electric offers a complete line of electrical supply, wiring, breakers, bulbs, heating elements, electric motors, light fixtures, and so much more. Located at 925 West Spring Street in Monroe, stop by and see Brian and Cindy, in business for over 50 years. That's Allen Electric Supply, 770-267-5572.
Folks, are you tired of the hustle and bustle of the malls? Remember as a kid when you would go to the store with your grandparents and pick out your favorite candy? Come to Patrick's in Covington for an old-fashioned Christmas that will take you back to those times. They have the largest selection of old-time candy in the area. Favorites include orange slices, pralines, coconut macaroons, chocolate-covered peanuts, and peanut clusters. Patrick's also has fresh, whole, shelled pecans, as well as glazed, bourbon, cinnamon, roasted, salted, chocolate-covered, and other flavors. If you want a gift you know your family will love, choose from their fresh fruit basket or a gift basket of home-style preserves, chow-chow, candy, and other goodies. Don't see exactly what you want? Gather up the goodies you'd like from the large selection of candies, preserves, and pecans, and they'll make a custom gift just for you. Whether you want to relive these happy childhood memories or make new ones with your children and grandchildren, go to Patrick's for a Christmas that will take you back in time. Start your own family tradition at Patrick's, located on the Bypass in Covington, 770-786-3220.
What matters most at Walton EMC? Reliability. With 99.99% reliability, we power lives around the clock. From investing in renewable energy to strengthening our grid, we're always working to keep your power on, even when severe weather strikes. And when it's needed, you can count on our skilled teams 24/7 to quickly restore your service. Walton EMC, investing energy in what matters most. Learn more at waltonemc.com.
Cassie Enterprises invites you to stop in and see their new line of Coyote brand tractors, UTVs, and Bad Boy zero-turn mowers. Coyote tractors have the power to handle any job. Working on the farm, landscape business, and more, Coyote tractors are dependable and ready to work for you. Sales, service, parts, and more. It's all available at Cassie Enterprises. Family owned and operated. 145 Highway 83 in Good Hope. Go to CassieTractor.com.
Madison Flooring, located at 1167 Eatonton Road in Madison, is your full-service and professional installation center for all kinds of flooring, from tile, carpet, laminate, wood. They even do showers. They have granite and quartz countertops. All military, police, firefighters, and teachers ask for your discount. Madison Flooring is locally owned and operated. For knowledgeable and friendly service, call 706-431-5152.
Since 1979, the Tim Stewart Funeral Home family has been caring for families in their time of need. The Tim Stewart family pledges to honor your loved one with excellence in service, compassion, and will guide you in making the right decisions. To learn more about the Tim Stewart Funeral Home family, stop in at one of their 3 locations in Monroe, Loganville, and Lawrenceville. Call 770-267-2594 or go to stewartfh.com.
And welcome back. Marc McMain, co-hosting with me today, is Bob Furr of Madison Trolley Company, and our guest right now is Vernon Jones. He is running for Secretary of State. Vernon, thank you so much for joining us today, sir.
Mark, thank you so much for having me. I'm enjoying having an opportunity to dialogue with you and your listeners.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a great listener base. Our station covers from Athens down to Lake Oconee, back into Walton County. It's about 7 or 8 counties. We're not big market, Vernon, but we're not small market. We're kind of that jewel in the middle, the mid-market size station. So we've got a lot of listeners that you can reach today. Vernon, just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, maybe your family, where you grew up, and then how you got into politics, the motivation to get involved in this.
Yeah, thank you. Again, Mark, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir.
To your audience and the surrounding counties, very important people, good people. I was just in Morgan County yesterday, spent some time in Madison with a lot of good folks. But I was born and reared on a farm in North Carolina. Was educated at North Carolina Central University School of Business, Information Technology. Spent time working in corporate America. Did extremely well in management there. Companies like IBM and Bell South Mobility. I was elected to the legislature about 30. I served in the House of Representatives 8 years. During that tour, Mark, I served on some very key committees, everything from appropriations, which I made after only my 3rd year, appropriations, insurance, public utilities, health and human services, veteran affairs, those key communities that made a big difference. I was one of my more prominent pieces of legislation I co-sponsored was the Georgia Peach Care Act, where we went out and we insured children between 0 and 18. Those who were uninsured, their family members were not Medicaid eligible, but at the same time they couldn't afford insurance. So made a difference with the Peach Care Act. Then I was later I got elected to Chief Executive Officer of DeKalb County, where I manage about 8,000 employees, about a $3.2 billion budget, 46 different agencies from airport to finance, law, or legal, I should say, planning, permitting, watershed, transportation, police, fire, rescue. So I got a chance to get 2 4-year terms, served a total of 8 years. And that gave me really good chief executive experience and as a chief administrator, managing that size of budget, that size of number of employees with the various departments. I have a small business, like a lot of us here are small business owners, working in government relations. And I actually, Mark, went back to the legislature and served another 4 years. It was kind of interesting. When I left the legislature, it was majority Democrat. When I came back, it was majority Republican. Mm-hmm. But yep. I've always had the reputation of working on both sides of the aisle, even though I was a Democrat back then. But even as a Democrat back in 2000, I supported President George W. Bush. So I've always been, again, bipartisan, did what I thought based on my conservative values, my upbringing, my raising. And as you know, when I was back in the legislature in 2020 as a Democrat, there was no way that I could have supported a Joe Biden. I came out in support of President Donald J. Trump, probably the only Democrat elected official in any legislature in the entire country.
Oh, yeah. No, that made headlines. Yeah, I remember that. I remember when that happened.
Yeah. And so,
and how was that, Vernon? When you came out and you were vocally supportive of President Trump. Were you getting phone calls from people within the Democratic Party, like saying, "What are you doing?" Was there anybody that was supporting you? Because we saw the attacks that you were getting from the Democratic Party, but was there anybody behind the scenes that was maybe saying, "Hey, I appreciate what you're doing," or was it all negative energy that you were getting from the Democrats?
You know, Mark. To some, it was not a shocker because, again, they saw me support President George W. Bush as a Republican, as a Democrat. Matter of fact, when he came to Georgia's first trip, he came to DeKalb County. I was the one who introduced him. But also, that shirt never really felt really comfortable with me in the Democrat Party because I saw them start to drift farther and farther left. And so I was sort of like kind of isolated, but there were those who respected my principles, my values, and my conservative ways. And so it wasn't a shocker to them, but others. So yes, I didn't. Not only did I go under attack locally and across the state of Georgia, but across the country. And it's kind of interesting, Mark. It used to be a time where independent Democrats were celebrated. You had the Reagan Democrats. There was nothing wrong with that. They were conservative. They were blue dog Democrats.
Right.
But somewhere down the line, that whole thing changed. And so I was under major attack, but it didn't matter because it wasn't a problem with me. It was a problem with them. I didn't leave the party. The party left me, and it just showed the vast difference. And the reason why I didn't go along with that, they just got to the place, Mark, where I supported, even back then I was a co-sponsor of legislation and having run a police department to report all illegals that were arrested, that it should be reported to ICE. And when I signed and co-sponsored that bill, I went on a major attack for that. And I was called everything from a sellout to a racist, all those things, because I wanted to report illegals who had committed violent crimes. They should have been reported. All illegals should be reported to ICE, actually. And so, they lost their mind, but I didn't care. I stayed where I was, and I continued to serve, and I finished my term. In 2021, January 6th, I'm proud to say that I spoke in Washington that day, and that's when I officially announced that I was coming back home to the grand old party, the party of Lincoln, the party of reasonable and sensible policies that made a difference in American families and protected, our American heritage and protected our values, faith-based, hard work, education, free enterprise, job opportunities, vocational school, as well as those 4-year traditional schools, securing our border, having our house in financial order. As a matter of fact, when I was the CAB chief executive, I was able to acquire its first AA triple bond rating. I should say AAA, AA bond rating by both Moody's and Standard & Poor's. So fiscal responsibility was something I was always into. And again, relax a lot of the bureaucratic rules and regulations that stifles growth and things of that nature, Mark. So that's nothing new to me.
Vernon, I'd like to ask you, this is Bob Furr here, what was the moment? Big moves, right? When you look at things in history and politics, there's these big moves. They seem to be often driven by small moments. Was there like a moment, something that happened, something you experienced that really started the path for you to make that change?
Yeah, Mark, I had when I had co-sponsored that bill I was telling you about, the immigration bill to report illegals to ICE, have the police department to do it. I was attacked by a sitting transgender city councilman. Came down to the Capitol, and he physically put his hands on me and said, how could I do that? How could I support that bill? And I said, very simple. If you commit violent crimes, you need to be reported. And he made a comment, well, you're like us. And I'm like, what do you mean like us? He said, well, we're gay and you're black. I said, well, wait a minute. You're confused. You've been listening to Obama too long. I said, don't ever compare gay rights to civil rights for black people. It's a big difference. And the Democratic Party, actually the leadership of the Democratic Party, told me I should apologize to the gay caucus and I should take back my words, and I just said hell to the no. I'm not homophobic. I'm not xenophobic. I am claustrophobic. But I'm not going. You're not going to push down my throat that a man can have a baby. You're not going to push down my throat that children should go through transgender operations. You're not going to push down my throat that there's more than two genders.
Right,
I'm just not going to go for that. Now, if you want to believe in that, fine. I'm not going to believe that, and you can't force me to believe that. I wasn't raised that way. And many Democrats were not raised that way, but obviously,
that's a question I've got for you, Vernon, because that's something that I'm just curious. And this, you listen to the Marc McMain show. Our guest is Vernon Jones. He's running for Secretary of State. So when you're elected as a Democrat, you identified, hey, and you used the phrase, "I didn't leave the party left me." Do you feel that the elected officials in the Democratic Party that have shifted far left, that they no longer represent their constituents? Because I think you more than anybody would have a pulse, especially as CEO of DeKalb County, you would have a pulse on the Democratic base. I'm talking about the voters, the citizens, just the regular folks that get up every morning and go to work. I do not see that group being as far left and radical as the elected officials. Would you agree with that, or am I off?
Mark, let me just get down shucking some corn with you. The black community has always been very conservative. And I don't mean this from a racial standpoint, but more of a description. Mm-hmm. White liberals have always been the ones who have tried to bring the black community to their liberal thinking. And, I know some black legislators who are Democrats who are afraid of the LGBT community because if they didn't side with them or take a stand with them, that they would get attacked, and they will attack you, and they will use. Yeah. I got some of the most bigoted and racial comments made to me by the LGBT community, the very ones who say that that people attack them. No, I've been attacked too many times by them, and I think it's ironic for them to even say that they are all this attack. No, if you don't agree with them, they get vicious, and so not all of them. Let me be clear. But enough of them where it makes a difference. Right. And so I do want to say this, Mark. There's again, I don't care what someone chooses they want to be, and that's fine. But leave kids out of it. And why attack someone who does not agree with you? Right. I don't agree with a lot of things. I don't agree with some things with the current administration. And I give an example. I don't agree with the president or Secretary of Education made a recent announcement as it deals with nursing to take nurses out of that professional category where now their loans are being reduced. And I think it's going to hurt nurses across the board in terms of them being able to be able to be in nursing school and be able to get those very needed loans so they can get through it. You're going to reduce the pool of nurses, and you're going to reduce the pool of nurses who are educators. And so, but I shot off a letter to Secretary of Education, say, hey, I disagree with y'all, reconsider this, but I didn't attack the president. I don't have to attack him. You can disagree and still try to work together. And so, but that was the defining moment. I just said, the Democratic Party going to ask me to apologize and meet with the gay caucus. No, I just wasn't going to do that. Yeah. It didn't make any sense. So that was just enough. Well, it was just enough for me.
There's a lot of moving parts in politics. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, we've got Vernon Jones. We're going to learn more about his campaign for Secretary of State. Stick around.
Are you looking for new tires? Well, look no further than Madison Car Care. They have the largest selection, and you'll always get the best price. They also handle a wide range of auto repairs, from the small things like oil changes and wiper blades to the big things like suspension, parts, and radiators. They offer all kinds of accessories, from toolboxes to bed covers, side steps, and they even install those awesome ranch hand bush guards. Give them a call at 706-342-4774 or stop by at 1040 Confederate Road in Madison.
Make sure your diesel is ready for every season by stopping in at Leadfoot Diesel. Their technicians have many years of combined experience to keep your Cummins, Power Stroke, and Duramax running the way it should. Plus, they can improve fuel mileage, perform upgrades, AC repair, and they offer tires, wheels, lift kits, and more. Diesel owners from all over the country trust Leadfoot Diesel, 320 Mayfield Drive in Monroe. Stop in or go to leadfootdiesel.com.
Looking for that perfect piece of jewelry designed just for you? At P&A Jewelers, family owned since 1976, we've been helping our customers shine for nearly 50 years. Now proudly run by second-generation brother and sister team, we specialize in custom jewelry design, expert repair work, and fine jewelry for every occasion. Visit P&A Jewelers, where family tradition sparkles. Located in Loganville beside Quick Trip, or online at shoppajewelers.com. Follow us on Facebook to see what what's new.
When you walk through the doors of Campton Restaurant, you're not just here for a meal, you're part of a tradition. I'm Josh Parker, 4th generation owner, and for nearly 40 years, families in Walton County and surrounding areas have gathered around our tables to share stories, laughter, and good Southern cooking. From crispy fried chicken to heart-healthy daily specials, there's always a plate waiting with your name on it. We're open Mondays for lunch and Tuesday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. and 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. So come on by, make yourself at home, and experience Campton Restaurant, where family tradition meets every meal.
Have you been putting off auto repairs? Do you want a body shop you know and trust? Go see Auto Correct Collision. Auto Correct is a family-owned and operated collision center with over 45 years of experience. Their equipment and training exceed industry standards. No repair is too big or small. Ask about the special drawings and mention this ad for a discount. Visit Auto Correct Collision at 409 Mayfield Drive or call them at 770-207-1241.
The holiday season is here, and Boss Brothers has a whole lineup of fun events you and your pets won't want to miss. Start the season off with our pet vaccination clinic on Saturday, December 6th from 8:30 to noon. Then don't miss Ladies' Night Out on Tuesday, December 9th from 5 to 8, where you can check out our boutique located right inside the feed store. And of course, it wouldn't be Christmas without Pictures with Farmer Santa on Saturday, December 13th from 9 a.m. to noon. Celebrate the season with us at Boss Brothers. Boss Brothers located at 3084 Highway 78 in Loganville.
And welcome back to the Marc McMain Show. My guest co-host today is Mr. Bob Furr of Madison Trolley Company. And on the line, we've got Mr. Vernon Jones. He's running for Secretary of State. Vernon, we were having a conversation about the, switching parties from Democrat to Republican. I like the phrase you used, that the Democratic Party, you didn't leave it, it left you. Bob's got a question that he has queued up. Bob, are you ready for that question?
Yeah, so I think we talk about a lot of big issues, but what's it like? Like, what does it functionally look like when you change parties? What changes in your life?
Is it like paperwork you have to fill out? What?
do you have to swear an oath? I mean, what happens?
Well, Bob, great talking to you, and thank you for your question. Bob, there's a lot of noise at first because the nerve of you, how could you? I can't believe you would do that. But then after a while, that noise goes away, and, you're not even thinking about it anymore. The fact of it is, sometimes if a shirt doesn't fit anymore, you got to change. You got to get another shirt. The jacket doesn't fit. You got to get another jacket.
Yep.
The jersey doesn't fit. You got to get another jersey. The Democrat Party. Look, when I served in the Georgia legislature, I served with some very conservative Democrats when I was there in the 90s, and I saw they became a dying breed. I saw Republican Party was very minority party, but they started to grow more and more and more because Georgia wanted to maintain its conservative values, and they didn't want to elect people who were not sharing their values. And you saw a lot of people move here. They come from California. They come from places where the taxes are high, the infrastructure is horrible, and they're leaving, but they want to come to Georgia and vote for some of the same people that got them in those conditions.
We see it all the time.
And so, I just said, look, I just can't, I just don't feel comfortable with what they're doing. And I think the hypocrisy of them to want to call the Republican Party racist. And I've experienced some of the most bigoted people, liberals in the Democrat Party primary because, they want to think for you. If you don't allow them to think for you, then all of a sudden they have an issue with you. And so they're not a party of a big tent party, I should say, where, you can come and be who you are. No, if you don't agree with their agenda 100%, then they ostracize you, they marginalize you. And the liberal media, that's a big part of it too.
They're in lockstep. Yeah, absolutely.
They're in lockstep. So if you're a Democrat and all of a sudden you're disagreeing with the Democrat Party and that liberal agenda, then here comes the media. The media wants to write negative stories about you. They want to go after you. They want to try to find someone to run against you and primary you. And it's ridiculous. But let me tell you, I want to be clear about this, Mark. There's not a black community I cannot go in and have the exact same message and the same thing I'm saying to you right now. I don't have to change. I'm not like some politicians go in one room and say one thing, in another room and say another. I am consistent because I know that they know that what I'm saying is the truth.
Yeah.
They may be afraid of the backlash, but I'm not afraid of the backlash. I'm saying what many people are feeling, what many people are thinking.
And your message is being well received.
I can tell you right now, I can tell you a lot of elected Democrats are disgusted with what's going on in the Democrat Party. They're just afraid to say anything about it, and they just go along to get along. That's just not who I am. Mark, that's not who you are.
No, I agree, and I appreciate you standing on that firm belief. So recently you announced that you're running for Secretary of State. What was the motivation behind this? Tell us about, that moment of, hey, this is where I want to be next.
Well, like you and many Georgians, we saw what happened in 2020. And I don't want to see that happen again. Mark, I'm not trying to relive 2020 or relitigate 2020, but I do want to make sure that does not happen again. And anytime being you're a candidate or elected official, and you contact your state of Georgia, your Secretary of State's office, and they will secretly tape record you, and you see where, because you are expressing your concern and your feelings and questioning the election, where you can be indicted and jailed and fingerprinted with your picture and your mugshot taken because you question the election, that's a third world country. That's what happens in Venezuela. That's what happens down in other third world countries where there are not free, fair, and transparent elections. And I saw that. I lived through that. And so there were, it's kind of interesting. You saw, we were in the legislature. Here's where I really saw what happened. I was in the legislature 2020. We were told to go home because of COVID. While we were at home, little did we know, there was a settlement agreement based on a lawsuit that Stacey Abrams had brought against the Secretary of State's office. Now, remember, Stacey complained about the elections. She never admitted that she lost. She complained about election fraud, election irregularity, the elections were rigged, all that stuff. So she filed a lawsuit. When we were away from the legislature, we found out during the November election, right after the November election, that settlement agreement was signed while we were out of office, while we were not in the legislature, while we were not in session, I should say. And that was a decision that was made by the executive branch. You had the Secretary of State's signature on it, the Attorney General's signature on it, with the knowledge of the governor. And it actually changed election laws, how we do certain things as it relates to elections. The Constitution is very clear. The legislature and the legislature only can change election laws, not the executive branch, not the judiciary branch. And we saw where things were changed based on that settlement agreement, and we never would have known anything about it had not happened what we saw happen in that November of 2020. And as a matter of fact, Mark, if you go back, if you think I'm joking, here come the drop boxes. The drop boxes were never defined as a precinct in the state legislature, in state statute. It was never defined. And so, to my point, if I were not true, why did they come in 2021 with that new bill that codified drop-off boxes and a lot of other things in the state statute? If it was already legal, why did they have to go and change in the state law? And so that was just, again, questioning the election officials, and you stand a chance of being indicted because you have questions or you want to question it. And, when I saw those drop-off boxes, Mark, they were just out there willy-nilly. You can bring in multiple ballots and drop them off in those boxes. And so there's a lot of concern. So I want to make sure that we restore public trust. A lot of people still do not trust how elections are handled, and I support paper ballots. And I support paper ballots, too, primarily because if we look at the system we have now with the touch-tone screen, those are images. Images cannot be audited the same way that you can audit an actual ballot. That actual physical paper ballot that's watermarked, that's different from an image from those touch-tone screens. And so I am certainly a proponent of paper ballots. Now, as a Secretary of State, can I change that? No, it has to be changed through the Georgia General Assembly. But I would use the power of that office to urge the members of the legislature, having served in that legislative body, knowing how it works, to make sure we go back to paper ballots, that there's a legislative initiative. But at the same time, as the chief administrator, there are things that I can do administratively. One thing I would not be doing is what they did in the past, just mail out millions of ballots in advance of the election. Just mail them out. That had never happened before. You had to normally request a mail-in ballot. And as it relates to absentee voting, I think that should be very restrictive, sort of like it was in the old days, if you were physically impaired or based on your age, with certain conditions. But it became so widespread and so open. And one final thing, and I'll pause for another question. They were saying there was no fraud. Then after the investigations, it was said, even by the media, there was no widespread fraud. Well, if there was no widespread fraud, that means there was some fraud. So what's accepted? 5 votes, 5,000 votes, or the magic number, 11,771 votes?
We have to be sure that people have faith in our elections. There's no doubt.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Vern, I'm going to take it a little bit of a different direction here. I think it would be helpful, what does the Georgia Secretary of State do? You mentioned a moment ago, I can't change that as Secretary of State. Maybe talk to the listeners a little bit about what exactly is the function of Georgia Secretary of State and why is the role so important to the state?
And Vernon, I'll add something to that, include in there, because we're all business owners. I'm a business owner. Bob is. Even Chastity's a business owner over here. So talk about, too, I know a big deal for you is cutting red tape. So include that in your response, if you don't mind.
Yeah. First of all, obviously, most people think about the Secretary of State's office as being over elections, and it is. However, all elections are held at the local level. That's where my experience comes in, too, because as the chief executive, I had to oversee making sure those people were trained, making sure they were funded, enough machines, et cetera, et cetera. But that is a big part of it, the elections. But also, when you look at the Secretary of State's office, it regulates 42 different boards, from the pharmacy board, the nursing board, the accounting board, contractors. There are a number of boards, and it's so important because many of those boards require those who had to go through those boards to come back and renew their license. And you talk about the red tape and the process you're going through, how long it takes. There's got to be a way to make that much more efficient, much more effective. Even you see people who graduate from college nurses, when they come to apply, once they finish, they want to apply and start practicing. The process they go through, try to dial the number and try to reach someone down there. You can't even reach anyone. It takes months and sometimes years before people can officially get their boards where they can go and practice their profession. We have to streamline that operation, and that's a very critical part. And the third part of that, Mark, you mentioned about businesses and small businesses. The Secretary of State's office is the gateway to businesses. We should make it easy for you to get in and get your business license. We should be promoting businesses. We should make it where we are working with the chambers. We're working with various other groups that are pro-business in terms of bringing businesses to Georgia. And, again, making the process user-friendly. It is a nightmare. The red tape, the customer service. Maybe I should say the no customer service, how long it takes for someone to get back with you. It needs to be streamlined. It needs to operate in a much more efficient, much more effective way where when customers use their Secretary of State's office, they feel like they're responsive and it's efficient and they enjoy, interfacing with that Secretary of State's office.
You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Vernon Jones. He's running for Secretary of State. Vernon, thank you so much for joining us today. And if somebody wants to learn more about your campaign or if they want to support you or get involved, where do they go?
They can go to Vernon Jones, FORGA.com, VernonJonesforGeorgia.com, or Vernon Jones, SOS, Secretary of State, Vernon Jones, SOS, 2000, Vernon Jones, SOS 2026.com, Vernon Jones, SOS 2026.com. And thank you for that because many people are actually reaching us through our website and just calling us. But, Mark, I do want to say this, too. You mentioned Walton County, Monroe, that whole community is an amazing community, and I hope to be there real soon to meet a lot more of the people. I got a chance to meet a lot of folks, and you know this. You were involved, too, that were dealing with the Rivian thing. A lot of community folks are speaking out against that, and it was a big challenge. So I'm glad to know that Walton County has some fighters and they care about their government, they care about their community, and I look forward to working with them.
Absolutely, Vernon. We wish you the best on the trail.
Thank you so much. And thank you, too, Bob.
Thanks. Nice talking to you.
Maisie.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. That was Vernon Jones. All right, Mr. Bob, that about wraps up our first hour. But tell us what else is going on in the world of the tour of homes.
Well, yeah, let me put a plug in for the big weekend in Madison. One of the 2 biggest weekends of the year is the spring and holiday tours of homes. 75th anniversary coming up this weekend. It's going to be a rainy weekend. What a great weekend to be indoors, checking out these old historic homes. A couple of churches. There's a free handbell concert. There's a free organ concert. And we're trolley companies providing transportation between the homes.
So you get the nice, sheltered, cozy ride
You can.
Comfortable, cozy ride in between the venues.
What better thing is there to do than
don't have to find parking.
It's a great weekend to be inside, so come join the tour of homes in Madison.
And Bob, if somebody wants to find out more about the Madison Trolleys, how do they find out more about that?
Yeah, so we're at madisontrolley.com, and if you do a Google on Tour of Homes, all the information's there. Madison Tour of Homes, Morgan County Historical Society as well.
Bob, thanks for joining us today again.
Yeah, it's great being here. Thanks for the hot chocolate, Chastity.
Oh, sorry. Absolutely. Thanks for coming in, Bob.
Yeah,
You're
it was a lot of fun.
You're so awesome.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Marc McMain Show. When we come back, Dutch guest. He's running for State House 121. Stick around.
Real country.
This is Q92.3 WMOQ FM, Bostwick, Monroe, Madison. Your home for real country.
Anytime is a great time to make memories at the Yellow River Wildlife Sanctuary in Lilburn. Close to home and fun for the entire family. Not only will you see wildlife up close, like bears, otters, bison, and more, you can enjoy a picnic lunch. There's gem mining and so much more. The Yellow River Wildlife Sanctuary, 4525 Highway 78 in Lilburn. Make plans to visit soon. To learn more, go to yellowriverwildlifesanctuary.com.
When your windows need cleaning, you need Moreland Window Cleaning. They're a Christ-centered, family-oriented business that takes pride in treating your home like it's their own. They provide affordable and reliable window cleaning services for your home or business, both exterior and interior. Give them a call for your free quote today, 770-298-8370. Moreland Window Cleaning. They guarantee crystal clear views every time. That's 770-298-8370.
Foy Tree Service, a name and business you have trusted for many years, is proud to announce Foy Septic Service, offering septic tank pumping, repairs, installs, and more, serving Morgan County, Lake Oconee, and the surrounding area. It's recommended that your septic tank be pumped and serviced every 3 to 5 years, depending on your septic tank system. That's Foy Septic Service, locally owned and operated. Call Brandon at 706-319-2997.
You know how your grandma always told you things were better in the country, right? Boy, was she right. This is Lance Goodson from Loganville Ford, and great deals on new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs can be found out in the country at Loganville Ford. Here, when you walk in, you feel like family. I grew up with my mother and father serving you at Loganville Ford for over the last 20 years. Now the tradition continues with me at Loganville Ford. Find out how deals are better in the country. Visit LoganvilleFord.com. That's LoganvilleFord.com, or visit us on Highway 78 in Loganville.
Make holiday memories this year. Gather your family and friends and go to Barry's Tree Farm in Covington. There's nothing like choosing and cutting down your own tree for Christmas. Barry's Tree Farm has Leland cypress, Carolina sapphire, Virginia pine, cedar, and fresh cut Fraser fir. For the kids, they have train rides and snow flocking is available. Call 770-786-5833. Located off I-20 exit 88 in Covington. Don't forget to visit Santa's Workshop for your fresh wreaths, garland, and tree stands. 770-786-5833 or go to www.barrystreefarm.com.
Hey, this is Doug.
And this is Robbie.
We own and operate Foy Tree Service.
When you need tree cutting, stump grinding, lot clearing, mulching, firewood, and more, call Foy Tree Service.
Serving Morgan County and surrounding area since 1987.
With top quality service and fair prices, we take pride in our work, and we do everything to make sure that you are a happy customer.
That's Foy Tree Service. Call us at 706-342-8733.
That's 706-342-TREE.
And welcome back to the Marc McMain Show. So just about a few weeks ago, Marcus Wiedauer, who is the representative in the Georgia Assembly for House Seat 121, kind of abruptly announced that he was no longer going to be running for that seat. As a matter of fact, resigned his seat immediately because of business obligations, which led to somewhat of a frenzy. There was a little bit of, I'm not going to say a panic, but a lot of movement behind the scenes to be sure that we had somebody stepping up to run in Marcus's place. And that person is Dutch Guest, who is joining me now. Dutch, thanks for joining us, sir.
Mark, thank you for having me, sir.
Appreciate it. I'm glad you joined us in studio, too. We may be out in the country. We're a country station, but it's nice and cozy in here, isn't it?
Hey, it's very nice. It's nice to get out of the office and see the sights.
When I see you brought a Coca-Cola, but if you didn't have one, she would have hooked you up with a hot chocolate, too. So we aim to please. Dutch, tell our listeners just a little bit about yourself, your roots, maybe family and upbringing.
So, yeah, Mark, I appreciate it. So, look, beautiful drive out here. I always love getting out of the office. I've been sending a lot of text messages lately. So
Oh, yeah.
it's nice to get
You've been a
out.
busy boy.
That's right. So I grew up in Gainesville, Georgia, in Hall County. I went to North Hall High School. I played football, baseball there, and I actually grew up on a 150-acre farm. So I had cows, chickens, horses. I used to have to pick up dead chickens and feed the baby chicks before I have to go to school. So, and now I haul them. Now we haul them in our trucks.
No better way to start a day than dealing with some chickens.
And I've seen, as far as agricultural goes, just from the ground up, what it takes to run farms and facilities. And then I went to play football at Valdosta State University.
Okay, yeah.
I was down there for 2 years. Kirby Smart, the great Kirby Smart, was the defensive coordinator down there.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Now, what position did you play?
So I was a defensive lineman.
I learned something new every day. Okay, yeah.
So it don't look like much now, but I used to be pretty.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
So,
yeah, you look like you could drill a quarterback between the rib cage.
I could. So but I was down there for 2 years. When I signed, when I came down there, Kirby took that summer. He took the secondary job at Florida State. So,
okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that's when he started moving up the ladder. But,
oh man.
But yeah, was down there for a couple years. Came back to North Georgia, in Dahlonega, and worked my way through school there, and then came to Watkinsville. So I moved to Watkinsville wanting to work for our family business, which is Ladd Truck Line.
Yeah, tell us about the family business.
Yeah, so we started in 98. Dad started it with my Uncle Judd, and we were there, and we built warehouses in Watkinsville in 2004 was our first warehouse. And we just did light distribution for a couple manufacturers there, and then we grew the warehousing segment, but we were also we're a poultry hauler. So we haul food, refrigerated groceries, different things like that. And we were a small fleet back then. We're a little bigger now. But the warehousing aspect was when I got brought into the business. So Dad wouldn't hire me at first. So talk about family business. So
you didn't check the boxes he was looking for.
He said, son, you got to go work for somebody else first. I don't want you here.
I'm going to circle back to that in a second. I think that's good advice, and I'll get to it. Go ahead. Yeah.
And so I actually went to work for Northeast Sales. I was there. That's where I learned how to drive a truck. Used to have to be at the warehouse at 4 o'clock in the morning and take my route out. So that was when I used to get up early and learn how to get to work and get after it. And then finally got the opportunity to come on board with Ladd there in Watkinsville. And I was so excited when Dad gave me the offer to come work for him. I forgot to negotiate. It's funny, talking about family business. I forgot to negotiate vacation time. So I spent my first year. So I met my wife in 2007, Mary Beth, and I had no vacation. Because Dad, he's like, well, you didn't negotiate that.
You forgot to ask for vacation. Dad's a tough negotiator,
man. So he played for Dooley, 75, 78.
Did your dad play for Dooley?
He did.
No way.
He was offensive tackle at Georgia. So,
man.
Yeah, they're tough, man. That group that he hangs around with, they're tough.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, the reason I appreciate so much what Dad did with you is because, you know what, you didn't go through the trenches really to see, you maybe saw it from a younger perspective, but to build a business is a lot. And so I've kind of gone through the same thing with my younger son, where I would love for him to come work for me at some point, Dutch, but he needs to go through the trenches a little bit. And so I think that's what Dad was doing with you.
Yeah, and so in our business, we got warehousing, distribution, logistics. And so I started in the warehouse loading trucks, doing inventory, driving a truck, spotting trailers. And then I moved into the logistics, the dispatching of trucks, scheduling appointments. Learning about accounting, doing accounting. And then I moved into our safety department, where you learn about all the regulations, the government regulations, the federal regulations.
Heavily regulated business. Yeah.
It's amazing what we have to comply with. But, he kind of teed me up. We went through every aspect of the business, and it makes you a better leader. Once you know, I'm one of those guys that I don't like to tell people how to do something unless I know how to do it.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to be brought. At the time, I was questioning quite a few things, but after going through it, it definitely made me a better leader in the long run. So.
You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Dutch Guest. He's running for Georgia House 121. Dutch, it's funny because my younger son actually works for a trucking logistic company now in the sales side, and I did not realize the vastness of that industry. It's and he's got a great job, and he's loving it, and he's excelling in it. But it is complex. Outside of business, how would you say that, you know, the experiences with your parents, the values that they've instilled with you, how is that translated into your daily life?
So, yeah, that's a great question, Mark. So, you know, I mentioned earlier, I met my wife in 2007. We got married in 2008. I had a daughter, still got her. She's 15. She's a freshman at Oconee County High School, and we had her in 2010. And then our son came in 2014.
I think I met Mac. Yeah,
you met little
man.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
You know, he's been on the campaign trail with me a good bit.
Is he the opening act for Dad in some of the events?
He is.
Yeah.
You know, he kind of softens the crowd a little bit because a lot of these guys don't know me. I mean, I'm very passionate about youth sports, about youth and education in general, and having coached football, baseball, even a little bit of soccer back in the day. It kind of, you know, it's opened my eyes to even a lot of needs locally.
Yeah.
And I love coaching, and I love being around them. And my son, fast forward a little bit, we took and sorry to get off topic here, Mark.
No, that's good.
We took the kids to D.C. this past spring break to show them the sights. You know, it's good to take them up there at least once to see the history of the museum, see everything. And we made an appointment with Mike Collins. And so Congressman Collins met with us in his office, and my son didn't know him from anybody, but as soon as he sat down, he said, "Mr. Collins, Representative Collins, I can name all the presidents from front to back in order, chronological order." And Mike Collins said, "I don't think you can." He did it right there in front of Mike, and he's like, "Man, I can't even do that."
That is impressive. Yeah, I don't think. I would have about a 10% accuracy rating on that one, I think.
Don't ask me. Don't ask me.
Well, and it's funny because Mike comes from a trucking business too. And again, I talk about that resume of people who, whether they've owned their own business or they've worked just in the real world, that is a resume builder for success in politics. And I mean that because what better way to understand what the average citizens are going through than if you were yourself an average citizen, right? And you've spent decades, you know, spending time doing that. And Mike has crafted some great legislation just in his young tenure in the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. Going back to you, Dutch, you know, how do you, so you're running a business, you're raising a family, you've talked about being involved in youth sports. I know you coach youth sports. How do you juggle all this? How do you find the time?
So, well, number one, you got to have an amazing wife.
Amen to that. Yeah.
And she makes things a lot easier on me. We, you know, at LAD, we've recently in the past couple of years kind of reshaped a little bit. We have hired some new people, brought some people in, and we have a great team running our day-to-day operations, and it allows me and Dad to do different things like what I'm running for House District 121. But we have a solid group down there for us to be able to branch out and serve in the community. And also on top of that, you know, I mentioned that, you know, being involved in the Georgia Trucking Association and the American Trucking Association has taught me a lot about how to navigate things from the political aspect. You know, it's all, everybody agrees on most things. There's just some spins here and there, and you got to learn to reach across the aisle and talk to different people.
Yeah, and you've had a front row seat to that, like you said, a heavily regulated business, and so I know you've been involved in that side. Before we take our first break, something that's important to both of us, I actually met you when I was visiting the Oconee County Rotary Club, and I believe you were El Presidente at that time. Is that right?
I was.
Yeah,
that's right.
Rotary Club's a big deal for you still, right?
It was, yeah. So it's a great group of guys. You know, I was fortunate enough to serve as president. And
how did they hoodwink into that one?
Well, nobody else would do it, so they just said, "Hey, it's your turn." No,
yeah.
So I signed up for 2021, so I took over in 2020.
Right on the heels of COVID.
Right. So our first meeting, so nobody was meeting still. I took over in July.
So were they doing the Zoom meetings back then?
They were doing Zoom.
Yeah.
Everybody was scared to get around each other. So what we did, I said, we're going to meet. I said, so I got with the Oconee Veterans Park. They gave us the meeting room.
Yeah.
And we had our first meeting there in July of COVID of 2020. And I actually developed, everybody was still kind of funny about getting around people. So I developed a system on our name badges. I had a green dot. You wore a green dot if you're okay being around people. You wore a red dot if you didn't want to be around people.
So like if you got a red dot, then you're sitting on the table by yourself.
You're like way
I see the dots. I never knew what the dots meant. Oh, that's classic.
But that's why we had the dots. But we were one of the only clubs in the entire state meeting, and we actually grew our membership during that time.
Think about that.
Because people needed something to get out of the house for.
You got a great club. I love visiting you guys, other than the fact y'all meet like 4 in the morning. I mean, it's ridiculously
You gotta
early.
have that breakfast, man. You got to get up for breakfast.
It is a good breakfast. It is a good breakfast. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, more with Dutch Guest. He's a candidate for State House 121.
Your call is very important.
Still waiting on your cable company to care? With slow speeds and hidden fees, maybe it's time to pull the plug. Kinetic gives you 100% fiber and gig speeds with 25 times faster uploads than cable. Local service that actually shows up, and clear pricing that isn't there to surprise you. So ditch cable and connect with the right crowd. Get up to $200 when you switch. Visit GoKinetic.com. Kinetic. Internet better. Subject to availability. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you considering selling your house or land, or perhaps find your dream home? Call Stacy McCullers, your trusted real estate expert. With 12 years of experience and a lifelong connection to Walton County, Stacy is here to help you every step of the way. Whether you're buying or selling, she's available anytime to make your real estate journey smooth and successful. Don't wait. Call today. 678-859-6336. A member of Malcolm & Malcolm Realty Professionals. Stacy McCullers, your realtor for life.
Your family and friends will love the Christmas gifts from Stripling's General Store. See their huge selection of holiday gift boxes with smoked sausage, country cured ham, beef jerky, jellies, old-fashioned hoop cheese, barbecue sauce, and more. Choose a pre-made box, or you can put together a box that fits your needs and budget. Jimmy Cap, his family and staff wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Stripling's General Store, Highway 78 East and Highway 53 in Bogart.
Are you looking for custom t-shirts, golf shirts, or uniforms for yourself or work? What about a family reunion, a fundraiser, or sports team? Whatever you're looking for, Chris and Debbie at Blue Hound in Monroe can help you. Real Country uses Blue Hound for our golf shirts and t-shirts. They do quality work and they're great folks. Blue Hound is located at 111 East Washington Street in Monroe. Go by and see what they can do for you or call 404-307-3664. That's 404-307-3664. Tell them April sent you.
Roll-Off Systems of Statham, they're on a roll. They offer dumpsters in all sizes, trash compactors, porta potties, and new combo cans. Existing sites are new building sites. Trash and waste disposal, it's their business. Locally owned and operated. Call Roll-Off Systems today. 770-725-ROLL. That's 770-725-ROLL. Or go to rolloffsystems.com.
Historic Rutledge Hardware is your one-stop shop for lawn and garden. They have soil, mulch, fertilizer, herbicide, pesticides, bonnie plants, flowers, and so much more. They've got you covered for your home improvement projects like painting supplies, power tools, plumbing, and electrical. They're even a Carolina cooker dealer offering cast iron cookware and stew pots, commercial cooking smallware, camper supplies, and so much more. Rutledge Hardware, making customers happy since 1891. Located at 116 Fairplay Street in Rutledge.
Welcome back. Marc McMain, our guest, is Dutch Guest. He is running to be in the Georgia House of Representatives, seat 121. This is to replace Marcus Wiedauer in a special election. Good Lord, Dutch, this election is in a matter of days.
It is. That's right.
It's light speed, right? So you have been drinking through the proverbial fire hose for the past 20-some-odd days, I guess.
I have been telling people the whole time I have a new respect for people in this industry.
Yeah.
After going through what we've gone through in the past 3 weeks, it's been an honor. It's humbling, but man, it is a sprint. But we're doing good, and we're going to keep it rolling.
Was this a light bulb moment when you got the news that Marcus was stepping aside? Did it take a minute for it to resonate, or was this like, hey man, it's my turn to step up and get involved?
Yeah. So honestly, it took a minute.
Yeah.
We had a lot of phone calls. There was a lot of chatter going on in our district, like, hey, who's going to step up? Who's going to run? Who's going to do what? And we, first off, I had to talk to my wife.
in my family.
Got to get her support. Yep.
And
Yep.
and we did a lot of thinking and praying.
And I met her the other day, and she is beautiful and fantastic. By the way,
thank
congratulations! You married up, Dutch.
I sure did.
Yeah,
I sure did. And but it took us several days, maybe 3 or 4 days. But normally typical campaign, you take months.
Yeah, you've got like sometimes a year to.
And you prepare your priority. You prepare everything months ahead. And so this has moved fast for us, and we knew it was going to be a sprint. But first off, I talked to her. We thought and prayed about it, and then once we were in agreement, I talked to my business partner, my dad.
Yeah.
And
did Dad think you were nuts, or was he?
Well, I like to say I've been there almost 20 years now, and I can count on one hand the amount of times I've been to him with an idea, and he said that's a good idea. Because most of the time in a family business, as the son, when you come to him with ideas, he's like, I don't want any of that. I don't go do something else.
Yeah.
And so he, when I came to him with the idea for running, he said, I think the community needs you. I think you're the right man for the job.
That's to have that support, that vote of confidence.
And I was just kind of taken back at that point, and that's when we just, fully decided to dive in.
And then you're like, Dad, you got to write a check.
Well, I said, well, thanks. I need some money now. You got to donate.
So you've identified, some important things to you, Dutch. What are those? Tell us about, what would your vision be for this seat if elected?
Obviously one of my bigger passions is transportation, but also public safety, education, and tax relief. And really, I'd love to get into a couple of things.
Sure.
If you don't mind, public safety. So I'm proud to have the endorsement of Sheriff James Hale, known Sheriff Hale for a long time.
Good man.
Spent a lot of time with him the other week, kind of going through their facility, looking at their needs, what they do, going through the jail, which is fascinating, some of the things they do actually to bring in revenue over there and work with other counties that don't have big jail space. So they do a wonderful job at Oconee County, but also, seeing what they're doing and where they want to get to is great. I've met with Clark County a little bit and looked at some of their needs and look forward to working with them some more.
Yeah, because this seat is mostly Oconee, but it has a portion of Clark in it.
It is. It is. It's got a sliver of Clark. It goes from 5 Points down to the east side where Cedar Shoals is. And really enjoyed meeting with Clark County. There's an issue over there. There's a homeless issue over there, and that's something that needs to be tackled. We need to keep working on that. Need to keep working with Houston Gaines on that. Houston's been a great supporter in that department, but also more importantly, there's a mental health crisis.
Yep.
It's not against the law to be homeless, and it's not against the law to have a mental illness, but our law enforcement are dealing with it.
Yep.
And we got to make sure that they have the proper tools and funding and training to deal with this. And I'm very passionate about that. And I think we can get them some more help at the state level.
It has to be addressed. It's something that's been manifesting for years now, and you see the results, in my opinion, of what a liberal policy is, which is enabling and appeasing versus what would be a conservative policy of getting to the core root of the problem and systemically trying to address it. And look, we can't fix everybody, but I applaud you in that, in you putting your attention to that, because it is important, especially not just Athens, Dutch. If you go down into downtown Monroe, if you go into Loganville, it's everywhere.
Right.
And these are communities that have great climates and people that are generous, and so it can be sometimes a magnet for that. So let me ask you this, Dutch. As a business owner, how do you think that maybe helps prepare you for what you're about to get into?
So definitely as a business owner, one of the things that I believe in, and my dad does too, is empowering our people and listening to our people. So I don't claim to have all the answers, Mark. Like I'm not one of those guys that's going to go to Washington or Atlanta and say, hey, here's what we got to do. Here's what we need to do. Now we know some things we got to fix. We need tax relief. We got to address, the homeless issue and the mental health crisis. We got to make sure our schools are funded. We got to get some relief on property tax. We got to look at those things, but you can't go up there with a sledgehammer and say this is the only way we got to do it.
You got to build a coalition.
You got to work together to make sure, because of course we want to lower property taxes, but we don't want to defund our sheriffs and police departments at the same time.
That's right.
We can't do that. So there's a good way to go about it and a wrong way, and the best way is to work together and to have those conversations with people across the aisle and fellow Republicans
and local and county governments and city governments.
You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Dutch Guest. He is running for State House 121. This is to replace Marcus Wiedauer. Dutch, if elected, what are some other issues that you think are pending that may not be bubbling to the top, but other things that you think might be important for the community? Is there anything that we're leaving out?
So a couple things that I like to bring up all the time in my transportation background is oil touches everything.
Mm-hmm.
So remember that. Remember, oil brings your packages to your house, your Christmas gifts to your house, your food to your table. It touches everything. President Trump's done a good job at getting the price of diesel down, the price of oil down. We need to keep bringing it down. We need it because when oil goes up, it affects everything.
It does, yeah.
And so as a transportation guy, I'd like to highlight that there's 9 bottlenecks. So there's a group called the American Transportation Research Institute. They highlight the bottlenecks across America, and 4 out of the top 10 bottlenecks are in Atlanta. So, and just
when you say bottlenecks, are you talking about the supply of oil or the actual traffic itself?
So traffic. So like driving from here. So the number one, I-285, I-85 north.
Oh, I avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
and so 4 of those are in Georgia, and we got to figure out. We got to work with the DOT to figure out how to address those issues. Because what happens with that, and I'll get back to affordability here, is when you look at the bottlenecks, Georgia alone, just in Georgia, is responsible about $4 billion in lost revenue just in the transportation world from transporting goods.
So you're saying because of the actual delay?
Because of the delay.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you can now drive through Atlanta, let's say 4 a.m. Not that I'm in there much at 4 a.m., but if you're traveling from point A to point B and you go through Atlanta, what I've noticed is obviously there's still traffic at that time, and a lot of it are the big trucks that are transporting goods.
That's right. And what happens, those goods go to your grocery stores, and they cost more.
Because of the delays.
The delays, the trickle-down effect. Things like that affect affordability, and 316 is a hot topic coming into Athens and in Oconee County, and that's one of those they're working on getting that one fixed and shaped up, and they're doing a good job. But we got to make our highways and roads safer, and that's one of the things that I feel like I can bring to the table in Atlanta.
It's right in your wheelhouse,
It's right in my wheelhouse. I'd love to help address some of those things. Get Georgia off this bottleneck map, because there's a lot of people that live in our district that commute to Atlanta every day.
Man, I feel for them.
Yeah, God.
My commute to the station, I think I see about 5 cars on the way from my house to the station. No, it's more than that. But the rare times I do have to go into the city, you're absolutely right, Dutch. I get all bent out of shape if I'm in a traffic jam or if it takes longer than it should. But the people that make that commute daily, and especially those in the trucking industry, I can imagine that takes a toll.
It does. It does. And that all just goes back to affordability.
Yeah.
Right? We got to get things more affordable, just like with the taxes. Mention the state income tax a little bit. That is on a lot of people talking about that right now. All in favor of lowering it, but we got to figure out where to make up that revenue.
Yeah, we can't make it a shell game.
That's right.
You can't just move it from here to there. It's got to be a way that actually eliminates it and give that relief to taxpayers and to business owners. And another thing I think that's really important to me as a business owner is I am fiscally responsible, not just in my personal life, but in my business life. The state has a great reputation of balancing their budget. We have a surplus. And how important is that to you, Dutch, getting there and knowing that you have the financial acumen, you know how to balance a budget, you've ran a successful business, that you're walking into a General Assembly that's not a financial disaster, like some states are in this country?
I mean, they've done a great job up there getting us in the black on everything and doing a good job with the budget. There's a lot of things. I'm gonna circle it back to one other thing about education. So I'm happy to work with our local school boards. There's some things, there's a QBE formula that's going on right now where they take back a certain amount of our local funds and send it back to the state. And for example, in Oconee County, they take back 5 mills back to the state out of our budget that they take out of our property taxes.
Okay.
So there's $14 million, just for an example, coming out of Oconee County going back to the state.
Back to the state. Yep.
And there are things that we need in this district. We need more nurses. We need more social workers. Talk about mental health. Just because it's Oconee County doesn't mean that they don't have problems too. Everybody has their issues.
Yep.
And it's up to us in Atlanta to to make sure that we get the funding level. This QBE formula was made in 1985.
Needs an update.
It needs an update,
Yeah.
right? And it also it doesn't. If you got multiple schools, multiple high schools, it doesn't. There's no increase for that. So there's got to be a way to reduce that millage rate a little bit, maybe to have 3 or 4 instead of 5 mills back. That would give some of the school districts a couple million extra dollars to pay for things like nurses, assistant principals. Healthcare costs have gone up almost $4 million just in Oconee County, and we don't even have enough state-funded positions for assistant principals. I think we have 21 assistant principals, and the state only pays for 16. So and I got a job description on assistant principals. Man, I wouldn't want that job because they do everything. They're like the utility cleaners. and so there's just a lot of things that we got to look at to make sure that we're getting the funding that these folks need, that our students need, and all in my mind, when we're in Atlanta, how does it affect the person in our district? How does it affect the student? How does it affect the person living in our district? That's my mindset, and that's what I want to bring back.
These positions are vitally important. And I was principal of a day at a local elementary school, and I had appreciation for principals and assistant principals and teachers and everybody that makes a school go around. But it is impressive to see. Now I'm speaking here in Walton County. I know Oconee County's got a great school system. It is impressive to see the operations that are run. We've got to be sure that we continue to give them the resources. And Dutch, you're right. It's I don't know that there are positions more impactful to citizens than those under the gold domes as it speaks to Georgia. Right. And so our listeners, you got to pay attention. You got to look and see who's on the ballot. You got to support those that share your values and that have the vision and the track record / resume that shows they're able to get things done. I think that is vitally important when you make your decision at the ballot box. Dutch, in closing, if somebody wants to learn more about you, if they want to support you, if they want to maybe help volunteer, I know that the window is short. Your election is December 9th. But if they want to help you, how do they find out more about Dutch Guest?
So if you go to our website, it's it's electdutch.com, and you reach out to us. Again, it's electdutch.com. We got all our info on there. My cell phone's on there. My email's on there. We have events. We're holding signs. I got a meet and greet at the east side at Locos from 5 to 7 tomorrow.
That's tomorrow?
That's tomorrow from 5 to 7. Come by, talk to me.
Yep.
I'll have some food out there. I'd love to earn your vote and tell you a little bit about me. So,
Dutch, that's fantastic. We wish you the best, and we appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy. You're probably going back on the campaign trail as soon as you leave here, but thanks for coming to time to visit with us today.
Thank you for having me, Mark. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, Anne-Marie Warren, she is our newest county commissioner here in Walton County.
Here's Evan Youngblood for Youngblood Tractor in Madison.
Did you know Youngblood Tractor is much more than just tractors? Sure, we have the biggest selection of Massey Ferguson tractors around and all the attachments you could ever need. But did you know we also carry the Kawasaki side-by-side lineup like the legendary Kawasaki Mule, Terex, and Ridge? That's Kawasaki's new cab model with heat and AC. Youngblood Tractor also carries the complete Spartan zero-turn mower lineup from residential to commercial zero-turn mowers. Combine that with our massive trailer inventory of equipment, dump, enclosed, and utility trailers, you can always build a winning combination at Youngblood Tractor right here in Madison. We also feature a full parts and service department to help maintain your equipment for years to come. Whether you're a full-time farmer, hunter, or property owner looking to maintain your land, Youngblood Tractor is here to make your next outdoor project a success. Call us today at 706-342-2242 or stop by and see us at 1600 Athens Highway in Madison or shop us 24 hours a day at youngbloodtractor.com.
If you're in the construction business, you're going to need a dumpster at some point in time, and that's why you need to call Atha Equipment Rental in Monroe, now offering 20 and 30-yard cans. Atha Equipment Rental now offers a complete line of landscape and construction equipment like tools, trenchers, floor sanders, jackhammers, and so much more, like rentals for your parties with tables, chairs, popcorn machines, Dunkin' booths, and more. Call Jason Atha at 770-207-6041. That's Atha Equipment Rental on East Spring Street in Monroe.
From touchdown celebrations to new home celebrations, I'm Realtor Josh Parker, and I'm here to help you score big in the real estate game. Enjoy the game and make sure you've got your home team ready for the next big play. Contact me directly at 770-601-9599 or online at RealtorJoshParker.com. Be sure to like and follow me on Facebook as well at Realtor Josh Parker for updates on the real estate market and new listings in your area, from Monroe to Madison to Covington, Conyers, and Winder. It's all online.
Madison Flooring, located at 1167 Eatonton Road in Madison, is your full-service and professional installation center for all kinds of flooring, from tile, carpet, laminate, wood. They even do showers. They have granite and quartz countertops. All military, police, firefighters, and teachers ask for your discount. Madison Flooring is locally owned and operated. For knowledgeable and friendly service, call 706-431-5152.
John Supermarket in downtown Monroe is proud to serve the Walton County community for over 50 years. 3 generations of the Thompson family offering the freshest produce, quality meats, everyday essentials, and now featuring Bistro South, a quick service restaurant with freshly made Southern cuisine and ready-to-heat gourmet meals. Always proud to support local farmers and suppliers, John Supermarket has the best meat in town and tons of weekly specials. Stop by and see him for all the ingredients, gifts, snacks, sweets, and everything in between you need this holiday season.
Welcome back to the Marc McMain Show. Now I'm joined by Charlie Morgan. It's kind of been a revolving door today, Charlie. We got a lot of people coming in and out.
In and out.
Yeah, it's a busy day at the studio. Our guest now is Anne-Marie Warren. She is our newest county commissioner here in Walton County. Anne-Marie, thank you for taking the time to come visit with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I want the listeners to know just a little bit about you before we kind of get into the political side and your role as a commissioner and what to expect with that. So I figured we'd take the first segment and just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of get into touch on Bo, the passing of Bo, who was a friend of mine. Heartbreaking situation, but I just want the listeners to know more about you and your family.
Yeah, so I actually grew up in small town South Georgia in Valdosta. Go Cats!
Yeah,
and then graduated from Georgia State University. Stayed to get my master's degree. Graduated with an MBA in with a concentration in real estate.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah.
In the absolute worst real estate market. In 2008.
Oh, mercy, and, yeah.
So got into property management, did that for a while, worked in I've done all kinds of property management and real estate at this point. Managed HOAs, commercial real estate, multifamily, residential, all kinds of stuff. And met Bo actually in Tifton. We were both working in Tifton and our paths kind of crossed haphazardly.
Okay.
And I lived in Atlanta. He lived out here in Walton County, and he got me to move out here. He said, well, we're never going to get married and have kids if we're in Atlanta and traveling through Tennessee.
He's like, come on out to the sticks.
Yeah. And so...
what year was that?
That was in 2016.
Okay, yeah. No, it's... I remember when my wife and I got married, and I had to tell her, hey, because I lived in Monroe at the time, you know, Walton County was kind of, it wasn't really the sticks, but it was kind of the sticks.
Yeah, it's not the way it is now, for sure.
I went from Buckhead in Atlanta to
Monroe.
the Bold Springs area of Walton County. I was like,
you were turned upside down.
Yeah.
I used to tell Bo, I was like, we are 30 minutes from anything.
Yeah.
And he would say, no, we're 30 minutes from everything.
No.
Isn't that great?
And, you know, fast forward now, however many years, and I'm like, oh, no, this is my place. Like, these are my people. This is too many people in Atlanta.
Isn't it something how you adjust?
You do.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine raising my kids anywhere else.
Liliana went through the same gyrations. She came from a big city, Monterrey, Mexico, drive 3 minutes to whatever you want.
Wherever.
To now, 15, 20 minutes to get a dozen eggs. Mm-hmm. But hey, now we got Publix close by, so we're in business.
We're moving up in the world.
Yeah.
Kroger's coming too.
That's right. Got Kroger
we've
come down
got
the street from
Kroger
you.
in Bethlehem, yeah.
What values did you and Bo share maybe that helped with developing the family and that carried into your personal life, your business life?
So Bo always worked in agriculture. He worked in Washington for different companies, lobbying for different agriculture companies and positions, and that was always a strong root of mine. Growing up in South Georgia, we had farming roots. My grandfather grew up on a dairy farm in Coweta County. So the love of nature and being outside, and in reality, I grew up in a small town. Valdosta was much smaller than it is even now,
Right.
and it's still a small town. And so we both kind of love that aspect of it. Community was a big part of what kind of drew us together. But we were always outside doing different things. We would go kayaking down the Broad and just getting out and being one with nature. Really, I'm not outdoorsy. Wouldn't consider myself outdoorsy, but I like to be outside.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yep.
And also he grew up riding horses, and I grew up riding horses, and so that was kind of a common theme for us. He told me on our first date that he trained his own dogs and his own horses, and I said, well, can your kids go to boarding school then? Like,
what that means.
I was like, I train my own dogs and my own horses. And I was like, okay, well, kids can go to boarding school. Good to know.
I consider myself outdoorsy. Charlie, are you outdoorsy, Charlie?
I mean, I like to have a drink on a patio. Does that count as being
Charlie
outdoorsy?
also likes to be outside.
Well, we're going to be outdoorsy tomorrow night, Charlie.
We
at
are,
the
and I
Monroe
am.
Christmas parade.
I'm going to be covered in hot hands everywhere, and fleece-lined leggings and everything.
And did you hear? I left Chastity in charge of weather, and now she's letting it rain.
Us down.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
No,
That's
going to
be
great
rough.
weather.
It's supposed to rain tomorrow for the parade.
Like a chance of it, and cold, and
I don't mind the cold. It's the rain that's kind of got me a little bit shivery. Let me ask you this, Anne-Marie. As mother of two girls, what lessons or principles do you think that you and Bo share that you want to pass down to the girls?
Just a love of our community is really important for us, to be involved and to help other people who are less fortunate than we are. Really trying to instill that in them right now, to be grateful, have an attitude of gratitude.
It's tough at that age.
It's tough. It's a tough one to learn, especially when we're just so blessed. So really getting them kind of exposed to different situations that exist in our world that's important to both of us, and also just being mindful of what we can do for other people. And also, taking care of our family, God, our relationship with God,
your faith,
and how that the main principle of that is to love everybody, just love everybody. And one of the biggest things that's been very important to us is to forgive. Forgiveness was always a very big part of our relationship, and
that's not always easy.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. But that is a thing that I'm really trying to that we've worked hard to instill in the kids, is the ability to just forgive and understand other people's perspectives, where they're coming from, and have compassion.
And I've tried to teach my boys, like, don't hold grudges. It
takes up too much space.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It burns a hole that you could fill with other energy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not easy. Like I said, that is challenging sometimes. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Charlie Morgan has joined me today, and our guest is Anne-Marie Warren. She is the wife of the late County Commissioner Bo Warren, who just passed away. Was it 5 months ago?
3 months ago.
Mercy. Yeah. In this time of loss, and again, our deepest condolences. I consider Bo a friend. I know a lot of people in this community were just beyond heartbroken with his battle with cancer. How have you guys found the strength? And especially with the young girls. I think that's where everybody's heart first goes to, is with the girls.
So we had the opportunity to prepare our girls, and I started very early when Bo's cancer came back for the fourth time. I knew. We started talking about death and kind of having those conversations. Our dog died. That sounds like a weird place to start, but we started with our dog dying, and the conversation always revolved around Kara, our dog, is in heaven, and she's free and happy, and she's good. She's okay. And we talked about how everybody dies. It's part of life. And then it progressed as Bo's illness got worse. We talked more about Daddy being sick and that he was going to die before we wanted him to. And then from there, we talked about what was going to happen. Daddy's going to die before we want him to, but he's going to be okay. He's going to be in heaven with Jesus, and he is going to find ultimate perfection.
Amen. Yeah.
Only the good feelings for Daddy in heaven. And my kids are very confident in that Daddy is okay and he is in heaven, and that it's hard for us because we miss him so badly.
Sure.
But that he is okay. And I don't think that they have any anxiety about Daddy being safe in heaven. That's a relief for them.
There's peace.
There's
Yeah.
definite peace about that, which is a huge blessing.
Yeah, no, just tough. I mean, like I said, it was Bo had built so many relationships in the community, even outside of the political lines, just with friends. And so I know it was a tough time. And I think everybody's first concern was to go to you and the girls. You know,
Well, we've definitely appreciated and felt the love and support.
Yeah.
I think Bo would have been just incredibly overwhelmed at the amount of outreach that we've received in the wake of his passing.
Yeah, I agree. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Anne Marie Warren.
It's lunchtime, and you want some good old home cooking? Then check out Up and Smoke Catering and Cafe, featuring comfort food like country fried steak, pork chops, chopped steak, pot roast, side dishes like mashed potatoes, butter peas, desserts, and more. Open Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Catering available for all events. 116 Main Street in Jersey. Call 770-742-6483 or go to upandsmokecatering.co.
Pony Express Liquidators is the place to visit before you make any purchase if you're remodeling or building a new home. They have great deals on just about everything you'll need and up to 50% off the big box stores. Bathroom vanities, bathroom sinks and kitchen sinks, windows, hardware, and still in the box doors and screen doors. Now that's what I was looking for. 2 locations to serve you, 361 Fundenberg Drive in Monticello or Highway 11 in Mansfield.
Lake Life is the Lake area's largest award-winning magazine, reaching over 25,000 readers. Pick up your copy of Lake Life magazine today. Get Lake Life free at over 100 convenient locations in Georgia's Lake Country. And keep in mind, you'll receive your free copy with a subscription to the Lake Oconee News or the Eatonton Messenger. Lake Life. It's all about the lives and events in Georgia's Lake Country. Call 706-485-3501 to subscribe. Lake Life. The biggest, the best, and it's free.
Looking for that perfect piece of jewelry designed just for you? At P&A Jewelers, family owned since 1976, we've been helping our customers shine for nearly 50 years. Now proudly run by second-generation brother and sister team, we specialize in custom jewelry design, expert repair work, and fine jewelry for every occasion. Visit P&A Jewelers, where family tradition sparkles. Located in Loganville beside Quick Trip, or online at shoppajewelers.com. Follow us on Facebook to see what's new.
This Christmas, K&D Shoes and Conyers has got the perfect gifts for the man on your Christmas list. Check out their huge selection of rugged workwear to athletic footwear from Hoka. Help him step out in style, and a brand new pair of jeans from Marriott. Great for work or a night on the town. If boots are on the Christmas list, see their great selection of boots from Marriott, Georgia Boot, Rocky, Brunt, and more. Not sure what to buy? Then check out the gift cards. One size fits all. This Christmas, your one-stop shop for the man on your Christmas list is K&D Shoes. Open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sunday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. 2240 Dogwood Drive in Conyers. That's K&D Shoes in Conyers. To learn more, go to kndshoes.com. Merry Christmas from K&D Shoes.
Welcome back. Marc McMain, Charlie Morgan, and I are visiting with Anne Marie Warren. She is our newest county commissioner here in Walton County. Anne Marie, before we get into your involvement in the county commission, tell us about when did Bo get elected to the commission and what was his motivation to be involved in that?
So Bo has always been interested in government. Obviously, he worked in government his whole life, either as a lobbyist or as with government as director of policy. So he always had an interest in government, and he really wanted to run and serve the local community. He ran in 2018. We had Ellis was born in September of 2017, so she was a baby.
Baby.
Let's run. I want to run. I want to do this. And he had just been diagnosed with cancer, so he was in the middle of his first round of chemotherapy when he ran. But it was something I definitely supported him doing. But one, I love local government. I love politics and economics and all of those things and how they fit together to begin with. But it was really something that he was passionate about and wanted to get involved in. So he ran and he was elected. And then he was appointed, the seat was actually open at the time that he ran.
Okay.
He had opposition in the primary, and he won the primary, and there was no opposition in the general election. And
Good.
since the seat was open, the sitting commission appointed him into the open position to finish out the last 6
I got
months
you.
of
Yeah.
that term. I think Tommy Stringer had served in that seat in that term, as well as Clinton Ayers. I think they both served in the same term, and they both died in the same term. I was a little apprehensive about him.
Don't take that seat.
Yeah, taking that seat after having just been diagnosed with cancer. But he finished out one full term. So he was reelected. He was elected for 2018, served 2019 through, what is that, 2022?
Is it,
And
is
then
it 4 year?
He was
Yeah.
reelected in 2022 for his second term.
I met Bo in 2020, and I did not know that he was battling cancer. Obviously, kept that close to the vest.
He did. He did not want to be labeled as sick.
Yeah.
He did not want, that was not his defining characteristic. So.
Yeah. No, I get that. When after Bo's passing, tell us about how did the discussion come about for you to possibly be a replacement for Bo?
So Bo had conversations about who he might want to run for his seat after he didn't run anymore, or if he couldn't finish out his term. It was conversations that we had really earlier this year, maybe starting late last year. And I always jumped in. I was like, I'm always trying to get in on your calls. I'm telling you what to say. Like
The meddling wife.
I'm the one. It was kind of half-hearted because
Yeah.
I had so much on my plate.
Right.
But also, pick me.
Sure.
And apparently he and David Thompson had a conversation about who he would want to finish out his term. And so when he started hospice and was after that August meeting, he really declined quickly.
Yeah.
And so David Thompson approached me about filling that position based on the conversation that he and Bo had had. I actually didn't know that Bo was really thought it would be great for me to serve, but that was what he and David had talked about.
Yeah, and think about the shared values that you guys have. I mean, so you continue what his motives would be. I think it's. I didn't know that was happening behind the scenes. Like I said, we're all kind of focused on Bo and what was going on. And so when I heard that this take place, I'm like, hey, this is a perfect fit. So have you had opportunities now? Have they had a few sessions, if you will, or county committee meetings that you've been a part of?
Yeah, so I was actually at the September meeting where they actually voted to appoint me into the seat.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that I was there, but I sat in the back and kept my mouth shut.
Yeah.
And just took it all in. And then I've had the October meeting and the November meeting. I kind of felt like I was getting my sea legs. And
Sure, yeah.
then last night we had a meeting as well, and that one I was much more interactive. Felt like I'm
Kind of getting
feeling like I'm
getting the
my
lay of the
groove.
land.
Yeah.
Have you been, Charlie, into the meetings to heckle?
Not with Emery,
Oh.
no.
She'd be tough if she came to the meeting. She'd be
No,
giving you the
definitely
business.
not. I'm her cheerleader. Like Emery and I are friends, and I've told her this 100 times. Like, you can hear it in her voice.
Yep.
Like, she is just the pillar of strength for her family, and everything that she did when Bo was sick, and then what she does now with the girls. Our girls are friends, and she's absolutely amazing. You can hear her strength in her voice, and it's just amazing, and I'm honored to call you a friend. I know I tell you that, but it's just you
That
do
is
such amazing
very
things.
kind. Thank you.
And you know what's interesting? We should have asked Steve Brown when he was here yesterday. I wonder the last time that Walton County had a lady county commissioner.
It's been a minute. There have been female county commissioners, but it's been a long time.
Has it been? Yeah. Because I was thinking, I can't think of any. Yeah, recently. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Amory Warren. She is our newest county commissioner here in Walton County. Amory, what are some of the things that are important to you now from the political standpoint for Walton County? You know, we're a growing county. We have a lot of moving parts. People, we reference this a bunch on the show, that people are leaving DeKalb, Fulton, Gwinnett, and they come to Walton County because we've really set the table nicely out here. We got a great place to live. We have grocery stores within 5 minutes now.
So nice.
We're no longer the
fancy.
sticks. Yeah, we're fancy
We got
schmancy in Walton
Target.
County.
I always said I can get to a Starbucks in 10 minutes. Okay?
That's right.
All that matters. So, like Bo, planned growth, coordinated growth is important. We want to make sure that we're growing in the right directions and that it's measured. We don't want to grow haphazardly. That tends to lead to an awkward mix of things. growth is going to happen. We want it to happen. We don't want Walton County to become stagnant. If you play that out, it never works well for counties or for communities that just absolutely close themselves off. And so we do want growth. We want people coming into our county. We want industry coming in. All of us want things. We like to go to the grocery store. So measured growth and planned growth is really important to us. I also would love to see in parks and recreation. I think that's important to our community. I think it's important for the direction of the youth of our community to be involved and to build relationships with other people that they may not otherwise interact with in our community, and to have those mentors for the coaches that come in and coach our rec league sports. I think that's important, and having nice, decent places for kids to play is paramount for our community.
I agree. We've talked about this often, Charlie, that we now live in this era where kids come home from school and then they sit behind closed doors for hours until it's bedtime.
Some of them too, not mine. We're in all the sports.
and that's the same thing for me. I had the boys involved, but I think
there is that,
the more opportunities we can give for kids to get outside, get off their phones, get off the computers and their
Video
Xboxes,
games,
and do stuff.
Be active, be involved in positive directions. Keep
That's
things
a big
moving
thing.
forward, positive, building connections with other kids, I think is huge for our youth.
And as a businesswoman, a mother, now a public official, how do you think those experiences will shape your approach to this? Because you carry into you real world knowledge. I've emphasized it many a time on this show that the best elected officials are the ones that have really, they've lived it, right? They're a constituent, they're a citizen, they're a voter, and then now they're on the other side, and now you're actually crafting policy or legislation or ordinances that affect the citizens of Walton County. So how do you think that those experiences prior to you getting involved will help you in this capacity?
So I try to think about the end user, what's going to happen down the road, play it out to the end. I want to make sure that we're making good decisions about where we're putting our money and that we're putting it in the best places that we're going to reap the most reward for. I also want to make sure that Walton County is a very safe county overall, and I want to make sure that we stay a very safe county. So most of my thought processes leads to that. I've got 2 young daughters, and it's a scary world out there for a mom sometimes if you let your brain go there. So security, safety, activities for our kids, and growing population, getting people outside, getting people involved, and the end user, who's going to be using the space, what's going to happen 10 years down the road. Right now, your neighborhood is great. What's going to happen 10 years from now as other people move in and move out, and how do we protect that current feel of our community while maintaining other people moving in and bringing their own ideas. They've got some of them are great ideas. Some of them are going to change the way that our community operates. So we want to maintain our community feel while still incorporating some of the great things from other areas that people are bringing in. And
if you think about any of the small towns in our listener area, they all battle the same issues, right? It's like, how do you maintain that Mayberry feel while managing the people that want to come in and be a part of that small town camaraderie and family life, because it is appealing. There's nothing more rewarding than being able to get out and park your car and go walk down Broad Street and shop.
It's so nice.
Absolutely. And we get a lot of people don't want Walton County to become too overpopulated, and we don't want to look like other counties around us. And, Walton County is kind of unique in its geographic size. We're a very big geographic county, geographically large county, but we have pockets of population. We're not a highly densely populated county compared to some. And we have safeguards to prevent really becoming overpopulated at this time. And I would like to see those kinds of things stay in place.
Continue for sure.
So.
Y'all know me. I just don't want the radical policies. That's what we tell people. It's like, hey, you come here for a reason. Leave your voting habits
just
where you were.
Why you came here.
That's right.
Exactly.
We're doing it the right way. Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Anne-Marie Warren. She is our newest county commissioner here in Walton County. Anne-Marie, what message would you like in closing? We still have a couple of minutes here. What message would you like to share with the listeners or the constituents, especially families, about what you hope to accomplish for them in a broader Walton County community?
So some of the things that Bo really wanted to accomplish in his I'm going to say 7 years on the county commission, he really wanted to increase communication and better communication between the constituents and himself. And so he always wanted to do town halls and a newsletter. Those were really big things to him. He never got them done. But so those are things that I would really like to see, and I'm hoping to initiate for at least my district as we move into 2026. So just increased communication, understanding, better dialogue to hopefully alleviate some of the angst between people and leadership.
I like that, because then it's not always taking place at the county commission meeting. That there's another venue.
There's not a lot of opportunity necessarily for educational exchange.
I got a great idea for you, and this is just from as being the former chairman of the Walton County Republican Party. I know their doors are always open, and they love when the commissioners come in to visit. If you reach out to them, they could probably put you on the schedule at least once or twice a year to come in and do that town hall meeting. I think that'd be a great venue.
Absolutely.
You could do it for any of the parties, but my point is that the venue's already set, the meeting date's already set, the crowd is already set. You just got to get yourself scheduled in the speaker.
Well, and it just encourages more of a healthy dialogue throughout the year.
That's
instead
right.
of like, oh, I'm mad about this. I'm writing my county
That's
commissioner
exactly right
now from my couch
You're
on a
spot
little
on, Charlie.
keyboard warrior kind of thing.
When you do that, it's too late to affect
100%
to affect the
Right.
outcome.
Emery, you're onto something there.
You
That's-
have to start early. Get involved at the budget meetings.
Yep.
Go to the meetings, listen to what's happening, reach out, let people know how you feel, and there's always a healthy medium. We can generally always find common ground, or once you understand why something happens the way that it does, you tend to have a better understanding, more compassion for the situation.
Well, we greatly appreciate you're busy taking the time to come visit with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
Fastest 30 minutes in radio.
That's right.
Well, you've been listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest was Anne-Marie Warren, our newest county commissioner here in Walton County. Tomorrow, we'll be back on at noon. And tomorrow night, don't forget, we got the big Christmas parade. Charlie, we're going to be rocking it. We're going to be freezing our tails off, though.
We will be. All the things.
Yeah.
All the things.
No rain, Chastity. You got that?
Working on it.
All right. You handle that weather for us. Thank you so much for joining us today. Until tomorrow, stay safe.